changer, man. It just changes the decision making, and it makes the sport so much easier. And then I think there's stuff you can do on every aspect. I mean, the big three that the coaches want is that they want the speed stuff. And I just recommend Tony Hollers or a couple of the other guys. Very intense, very fast. There's plenty of rest. It has to be done 100%. And then the only other thing that I would kind of add for you, well, not the only other one, but the one that most of the coaches aren't real sure about, I don't call it a warm-up anymore. I'm like Holler on that thing. I hate the term warm-up because it's just half-assed. When you say it, it just means you're not getting anything out of it. And I think with any athlete, mobility and movement have to come first. And it's not stretching. It's not trying to get the joints more limber. In the professional sports world, that's called downregulation. You certainly do not want to downregulate an athlete before a practice or a game. And I know I was talking earlier with you, your wife's a physical therapist.
Right.
I don't know what she thinks about chiropractors, but I hate the philosophy. I've never liked the spine alignment thing. I thought it was 100 years old when I was going through school. I think the body is three big engines. It's your hips, your shoulders, and your ankle and feet. If those three engines aren't moving the right way, nothing's going to work. You're not going to be as fast as you can be. You're not going to be as strong as you can be. And you're going to be at least of a 1/10 of a second reaction time behind. And when a 1/10 of a second equals 2 feet on a field or court, it's a no-brainer. So my mobility prep, or in the sports world, especially like the Olympic track, they don't call it warm-up. They call it movement prep. When a coach comes out and says, we're not doing warm-ups anymore, we're doing movement prep, players start to pay attention. That sounds like something more modern. It sounds like something that has a result at the end of it. So that's really the big three that when I do the presentations, that's what they end up wanting. You know, I was talking to you before the show, the first one that I did, the coach said, just tell me everything that's coming down the pipe in the next 10 years. And it was a disaster. You know, hey, I wrote a book about it, man. It's 300 pages. You want to go through all this and try to fit it in an hour? We didn't really get anything out of it except for new ideas. But those three things are what coaches seem to gravitate towards, and it works, man.
For sure. By the way, all transparency, my wife is a physical therapist, and she loves chiropractors who want to work with the physical therapist. So
100%.
People that understand it takes it takes a tribe to make someone better. You got to get through all the pieces.
Well, our athletic trainers through our schools here, and that's another thing I talk about. I think there's just to go on this topic as we're at it, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I think there's a big tendency, not so much at the high school, but especially in the university setting, that the coaches say, I'm going to handle the X and O's, you handle the sports injuries. And it drives me crazy because nobody is better at assessing somebody moving wrong than you guys. You're going to know it before the kid's going to know it.
Right.
You know, you got a wide receiver and all of a sudden he's got some little tweak in his gait. Well, that's why he's not getting open. That's why he's not able to release from this guy. Or this is why the DB keeps getting beat to the left and the right. You guys are going to see that way before a chiropractor, a PT, or an athletic trainer is going to be. These coaches have to be involved with some of the decision-making, especially leading up to an injury or coming back from an injury. And I think it happens so innately sometimes for coaches, they tend to kind of blow it off. But I'm really big on the return to play process has to have the coach's involvement.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Moving on here, gents. We're kind of talking about, when we've already kind of pushed this a little bit, but why do we need to worry so much about efficiency rather than just focusing on ball and the X's and O's? What's the real benefits? What's the payoff to a coach when you say, look, I understand you want to run power really, 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 really well, or buck sweep or whatever it is, but you've got to focus on this other stuff too. What is the payoff they're going to get by focusing on all this?
Well, Coach Simpson, you're going to handle that one. You're the ones running the X and the O's. I mean, I've got one book, man. You wrote books and books built towards getting more out of your practice.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff you're saying is good. I mean, I think it's an art, not really a science. I mean, there's things that you can do to help, but a lot of it is you got to make adjustments on what you're doing. I think, again, I go back to looking at where do you want to be. Like, what do you want to be great at? Start there, and then you got to work backwards. I think a lot of times we see things on Twitter, or, NFL Open this weekend, College Open last weekend. And so we, like I've got our practice schedule here, we're going to work our individual drills to match what we're trying to accomplish. And I think a lot of times if you're not real good at knowing, that doesn't mean you're not good as a coach. You just don't know. You'll work these individual drills, and then you kind of look at, okay, well, where is that going to show up in the game exactly? Like, exactly where is this pass set going to show up? Because I've had this happen before where O-line coach working pass set and we threw the ball 3 times. Maybe we shouldn't work that 10 minutes a week. Maybe we should work it like 3 minutes and spend the extra time working on down blocks. This week, we throw the ball a little bit more than we have in the past. So now we're having to go back and reevaluate, okay, now we do need to add more pass pro with our guys because we're actually going to throw it more. I think those are the things you've got to look at. That's just one little thing. It might be defensively, we focus a ton on tackling early, and we look pretty good at it. So we've kind of brought that down. We still tackle, but we've brought it down a notch, and we weren't really good at shedding blocks. So now that's become part of what we're doing on individuals. I think a lot of it is start off at the beginning. Where do we want to be? What do we want to do? What do we want to be great at? Then you have to modify and adjust as you go. What are we good at? Let's keep doing that stuff, but where are we not good? Put a little bit of time into that too. And again, I go back to asking the question, what can we get rid of? What can we get rid of? Mm-hmm. What can we get rid of? I think too many times when coaches aren't doing well, they flip the question and what can we add in?
What else do we need?
Can we add in? It's like taking a really bad soup, and instead of just going, maybe let's go less, let's add more ingredients into a really bad base to make it even worse, instead of what can we take away to get good at what we need to be good at.
There's a term for that in the sports performance world called the disease of more. You got someone that is slacking off on something. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you couldn't have said it better. And we talked right at the beginning of the show about why football coaches are the tip of the spear. It's because every game, every set of downs, you guys are making an adjustment, right? It's always options. It's always audibles. And I don't think that trickles down to other sports as well. If you're a cross-country coach, this is just what we do, and they stay with the plan. And if there's anything I could really talk to a coach about, is exactly what you said. How do you cut the crap away? You have to be able to look and say, is this an asset, or is this a detriment, or is this just something neutral? It's not going to help us. It's that easy as setting an intent on what are we going to get better at every single time. And it's not a lot of effort. It's just a little bit of thinking. But we are in a world where there's a lot less thinking going on. It's very hard not to grab a phone. You get done with the practice, every kid I see grabs their phone. And I'm like, if they would just not pick up their phone for 15 minutes and let their brain start to process, it's going to start showing up. And we're living it, man. My son went through a basketball, one of those prospect camps this week. And the coach said, hey, we love your stuff, but you're just not showing us what we want. This is a job interview, man. You're not trying to win a game. That's it. He's got to cut the crap out and get to what are these guys here to see? I think it's phenomenal, and it couldn't have been better said.
We see that a lot in sports where people just want to do more and do more and do more. Like it's going to make them look better, right? We want to look like the expert or the professional. And so we just keep doing more, saying more. It's not what you need most of the time. There's people out there.
I'm telling you, man, I've been talking to Tony Holler so much about this because I'm kind of trying to go on his direction. And he's like, hey, man, I just got popular. I've been preaching this stuff for 20 years, but it's so in the face of let's add more stuff on top of it. I mean, you're right. It's incredible what sort of razor edge you can get when you start to get a little bit of focus and start to get like cut the extra crap out of there. I love it, man. I love what I'm hearing. And I think you guys are doing it. And it's showing because so far it's a lot of W's at the beginning of the year too.
Well, we'll see if we can carry it on. I know Kenny's got big shoes to fill of his own self over there, but we're going to give it a show over here. Let's look at the last piece here, man. And that's just, and it kind of goes back to the question you asked earlier, Chad, and it's just what does the future look like in sports training and performance and game prep, and where are we headed? What have you seen? Do you think the future is?
It's the coolest stuff, and you can get so much from the Instagram, from TikTok, from all that. There's so much stuff. The trouble is nobody's letting it digest, right? Yeah. So you can get the best piece of information on nutrition, and oh my God, this would change everyone. And then you just scroll to the next one. And I've seen my own kids doing it all the time. The information's there. It's there. It's just so overcrowded with all the other stuff because everyone's trying to get famous in this realm. So I'll tell you the stuff that's coming out. is the return to play is going to change a lot for athletes. It's no longer going to be this 100% or you're injured. I think that's one of the things that's going to get your athletes back on the field a lot better. It's most of the protocols in the United States are built to protect for litigation. And I understand it. Your school cannot be sued by one of these guys for $400 million and you're out of a program. However, saying a kid just needs to sit out for 6 weeks and then he's going to come back and be where he's at, it's not going to happen. So there's a step-by-step return to play that is very simple to follow. I think it's better protection for the kid. I think it's better protection for litigation. It's directly taken from what's happened at all the top sports. And it's one of the things that puts the power back in the kids' hands where they have a set workout they have to do. So let's say I got a kid that's coming back from a hamstring injury and we want to get him back on the field. This shouldn't take 7 weeks. Right? This is 7 to 10 days. So once we kind of figure the injury's okay and it's worth testing, he goes out and does a 50% workout. 50% for offensive lineman. Hey, run a couple 100-yard